Carl McGinn.
Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President, on the 3rd of March, Saturday in Kalgoorlie, Boulder, I was very pleased to attend the 4th anniversary of the Eastern Goldfields Miners Memorial. Joining me at the event, which was held at the Miners Memorial in front of the Museum of the Goldfields on Hannan Street, was Minister for Mines and Petroleum, the Hon Bill Johnston, and Madam President, yourself was in attendance at the event. Also in attendance was the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder Mayor John Bowler and members of the community. The prayers for the day were led by Lieutenant Gavin Jones from the Salvation Army in Kalgoorlie. I have visited the memorial a few times already, and each time it still makes me think and dwell on our nation's history. It's hard not to when you look back over the years on the wall, particularly right back to 1950 and 1940, and you see many, many names enshrined on this memorial, workers that lost their life. It's not the good parts of our history, but instead the men and women we let down who did not come home from work due to workplace incidents. We started with listening to the very talented Goldfields Brass Band who played the national anthem. We also raised the Boulder flag, which is raised when a miner was killed back in history. After the speeches were given, it was a very proud moment, the region, when the Mayor and the Minister unveiled the 2017 section of the memorial, and I'm proud to say that there were 0 deaths in the region in the mining industry. Also, they added names that have been missed over the history and over the time, and the MC spoke to the crowd and praised the work of local historian Moya Sharp, who has worked very, very hard to ensure that all men and women who lost their lives on the job in the mining industry are remembered. In closing, members of the public were invited to stick sprigs of rosemary on the names of their loved ones on the wall. It was quite a powerful moment to see people go up and rosemary be spread all across the memorial. Members of this place may be aware I have a passion for workplace safety, and it is events such as the memorial that make me feel like the tide is turning. The community has respected the history of the goldfields. It is not something to be proud of, but we must remember and pay our respects to these workers. A huge thank you to the organisers of the event, to you, Madam President, for attending, and to the Minister. I will leave you today with a poem that you may have heard before. This was read out at the event by Ken Ball and written by Don Merrill. After hearing this poem, I believe every worker in all industries should listen to it and ask themselves, will you choose to look the other way? I chose to look the other way. I could have saved a life that day, but I chose to look the other way. It wasn't that I didn't care. I had the time and I was there. But I didn't want to seem a fool or argue over a safety rule. I knew he'd done the job before. If I spoke up, he might get sore. The chances didn't seem that bad. I'd done the same. He knew I had. So I shook my head and walked on by. He knew the risks as well as I. He took the chance. I closed an eye. And with that act, I let him die. I could have saved a life that day, but I chose to look the other way. Now every time I see his wife, I know I could have saved his life. That guilt is something I must bear, but it isn't something you need share. If you see a risk that others take that puts their health or life at stake, the question asked or something you say could help them live another day. If you see a risk and walk away, then hope you never have to say, I could have saved a life that day, but I chose to look the other way. Thank you.